After 11 years of training people, I can tell you one thing for certain. Most fellas over the age of 40 will never become lean. They'll always be metabolically sick. And that's because they focused on the wrong thing. They focused on weight loss as opposed to fat loss. We want low fat, high muscle to be metabolically healthy. And once you get lean the right way, it's easy to stay like that for life. But this is a journey. It's not an easy one. And in this journey, you need to know where to start. So, in a moment, pause the video and do the scorecard. 20 questions, less than 5 minutes, you'll find out what's holding you back. It'll give you an instant result, and next thing you know, you'll be on the road. Like Mark here, 44, 2 teenage kids, went down to 79 kilo from 95, and went sub 20% body fat in 3 months. It's doable, but it's all up here. But if up here, in your mind and at the back of it, you're thinking, I don't have the genetics, I have a slow metabolism, it's my hormones, it's because of my age, you've already lost. Right. Look at these two chaps, Jason Statham and DJ Khaled. Both 49 in these photos, both have 2 kids, both millionaires, and then some. But here's the difference. One of them sees himself as a sportsman, in his own words, not an actor. He used to die for England. The other one is obsessed with excess. I quote, "Why don't you lose weight?" DJ Khaled's response, "I never lose. All I do is win." I see this time and time again. I live and work in an affluent area. And you will see men who've spent their life acquiring resources and they've worked really hard for it. It's very admirable. But this then crosses over to their consumption of food and drink. They see their weight as a resource subconsciously, but unfortunately, it's slowly killing them and reducing the quality of their life and their family's life. But there's a way. Let me walk you through it. The way is simple, but it is boring. If you are a successful man, you got the latest Apple Watch, you got the latest car, iPhone, you're used to novelty. And we seek novelty in life, but to become lean is a calorie deficit and high protein diet. It's not keto, it's not fasting windows, it's not seed oils, it's not supplements or test levels. And every fellow will tell me once in a while, I've tried everything. But I guarantee you they haven't tried to be slightly hungry for 12 weeks. Not once. That is the key, right? To get used to that deficit. And your age isn't stopping you. Your comfort is. And you've worked hard to get to the comfort. You got misses, you got kids. Sip of water. Sorry. A mild hunger, when you're used to having everything instant, is an unpleasant feeling. But we're all addicted to instantaneous gratification, pornography, Deliveroo. We want dinner in 20 minutes. We get it. Everything's instant. So we assume fitness is the same way. And we think, all right, I can get next day abs. I can finance a car, right? I can display money. But what you can't display without the hard work is the physique. Because as men, we desire 2 resources that are hard to achieve: money and muscle. But money can be borrowed, muscle can't. And when you get in really good shape, if you got the money, bravo, that's great. Now invest it in yourself, because it's going to dramatically improve your life. And what you're avoiding is the problem. When we eat out, when we go into hotels, business meetings, taking clients out, we don't know what's in the food. We're eating out 4 or 5 nights a week. That's the quiet killer. It's not the odd Nando's. It's that pattern. You're having starters, you're having desserts, and you're not thinking about them as contributing to your weight gain. You might be in the office, someone offers you a bit of birthday cake. You're like, yeah, why not? You don't put that in the food diary. It's also very misleading when something's advertised as healthy. Right? This is a protein bar. If it looks like a chocolate bar, tastes like a chocolate bar, it's a chocolate bar. The smoothie bowl, the smoothie drink. Right? This stuff is marketed as healthy. You're on the way to a meeting, you're going for the airport, you're out with the kids, and you think, let's get this. It's healthy, but it's also a treat. The reason why it's so Moorish is because it's full of sugar. And as a dad who's tired, you lack energy. So this gives you that energy instantly. But there's the consequence. Eating out means eating out reactively. Whatever's in front of you. And whatever the menu's pushing towards you. Notice when you go to a fancy restaurant, the first thing they do is give you the wine menu. Notice how they only give you one wine menu. It's because when there's two of you there, you're with a client or your missus. If you have one menu, you're less likely to order one glass. You order one bottle between you, and that becomes two bowls. So the variables aren't in your control. You're heavily influenced when you're eating out a lot. And the hidden stuff is the sugars, the sauces, the oils. It's never the steak that ruins you. It's the sauce you get put on top. And if you say to the waiter, no sauce, please, he'll look at you sideways. So you have to accept being different and establishing a protocol that you can then take out with you when you're eating out. Because you can eat burger and chips. My missus cooks fajitas, tacos. We have cheesecake, but it's all homemade. And it makes a huge difference. I mean, you can take the same potato and you can air fry it, or you can deep fat fry it, put loads of butter in it, like we go to one of them French restaurants. And you think, oh, these are just potatoes. They're not. So the question is, can you eat the same thing on repeat? Now, I'm not asking you to lead a boring life, but I'm asking you to eat boring. Can you have a list of foods that you stick to? There's a hierarchy. Egg, beef, oats, spud, sweet potato, fruit, veg, whole grain sourdough bread. Could that be 80% of your diet? Absolutely can. And if you feel like this could be a bit boring, add some spice. Because that is going to keep it interesting. But that life is not about compromise, it's about sacrifice. I am guilty of saying to people, you can go out and have a few drinks. My tagline used to be, and hopefully I've deleted it off everywhere now, lose X amount of weight in X amount of time and still eat pizza every night, or something like that I used to say. And I'm ashamed to say that because it's not true. I was telling people what they want to hear instead of what you need to hear. The uncomfortable truth. The lean dad is the most consistent one. Right? He's eating for fuel, not for pleasure. Because that dopamine is a bottomless pit. We can never get enough of it. Once you pop, you can't stop. Fucking right. That's because it's not even potatoes. Yeah, that's powder they make in a lab. So you got to pick your direction. Right? Are you going to go this way or that way with your grub? You can be a bit naughty, but not until you've got balance. Because if you're sitting there thinking, oh, well, I see these lean fellas eating what they want, that's because they've got balance in their body now. Right? They're insulin sensitive. If you're overweight, you've got too much body fat, you're insulin resistant. So you need to make the sacrifice to get to a balanced state, and then you can let loose a little bit. The boringness is that every day has a similar structure. So the cliff that I see people fall off is the Thursday, I'll say Friday night. It's normally Thursday night. Like, Friday now, Friday's the weekend. You have to be the same person Monday to Sunday in terms of your eating habits, because all that hard work that you do 5 days of discipline, then you have 2 days of damage and it's all undone. Right? So you're kicking yourself in the foot. Is that the right expression? And then the Monday morning comes, you jump on the scale and you have that panic. Go, okay, I did all that stuff Monday to Friday, and now I've gained weight, and it might be water weight, but it's still weight. Until you become insulin sensitive, i.e. low fat, high muscle, you need to earn that flexibility. Alcohol. Now, I was out in London a couple of weeks ago. Booze is fun. I've had some of the best times of my life drinking. You know, sometimes I'll be exercising, the tune comes on, I'm like, I remember going out, that song, a few beers. But I'll say it plainly, alcohol is terrible. It is for many reasons. It doesn't matter if it's Guinness, wine, a few cans. It's worse than the sweet stuff because it's empty calories. And anyone telling you otherwise is lying to you. They're telling you what you want to hear. But what happens with alcohol is it's going to disrupt your sleep. So the first night of your sleep will be deep. You'll fall asleep easily. But the second half of the night, your cortisol and adrenaline will spike. Normally about 3 or 4 hours after drinking, it metabolizes. And that will send you into light. You basically won't hit the deepest part of your sleep, which allows you to recover. And you wake up and you're already chasing your tail. And if you think to yourself, oh yeah, well, I've got to take clients out and I don't want to say no, I'll not have a drink with them. I believe clients, in my experience, will respect you more. You will say, look, I'm doing this program at the moment. I want to be healthier and I'm off the booze. Right? If your client doesn't respect you, that's not a good client. I mean, people respect people with discipline, don't they? Not someone who has a drink just because the client's having a drink. Anyway, nothing good happens after 10 p.m. Now, people used to say midnight, but I'm 44, so 10 p.m. is late. And generally, nothing good happens after that time. Poor sleep is going to blow out all your cravings. I mean, your head's going to be all foggy. You're going to be making decisions way harder for you the next day. And then the late night grazing appears. So you think, once I put the kids to bed, me and my missus was doing this for a while, have a glass of wine, then it becomes 2 glasses of wine, but you have that switch off. Right? This means we can't regulate our appetite. So then we're having highly palatable foods, like we have our Doritos, have a bit of chocolate maybe, and so on and so forth. This further going to bed on a full stomach affects our sleep. Right? The best thing to be having before you go to bed is some carbohydrates, but only a small amount. Right? And that's going to kick off some serotonin in your body, help you to relax. Not eating high-fat foods, and especially not having alcohol. You know, it's very rare that you meet someone who's got good sleep patterns and they're overweight. I see this all the time, training inconsistently. And some people refer to this as the motivation cycle. So people come on my program. I'm like, can you train 3 days a week? Yeah, I could train 5 days a week. So I'm like, no, well, I just need to do 3 days a week. And then they start doing 3 days a week. After 3 or 4 weeks, the weight isn't dropping down as much as they want. So they ask for cardio on top. Can I add in some cardio sessions? Now, you can do cardio if you want to lower your triglycerides, for example, blood markers, that type of thing. But for fat loss, weight training is the most important thing. And then getting some steps in, walking. Well, what happens is you bite off more than you can chew. You're like, no, I want to get my cardio as well. So I start doing cardio. I'm going to burn the fat off. It's very misleading. There is no fat burning workouts. The best way to lose fat is to build muscle. And when you enter into this cycle where you're like, right, I'm going to start doing my cardio, burn the fat, you'll notice your weight starts to come down, but your body fat percentage actually goes up because you're losing muscle as well. So although you're getting slightly lighter, your body composition is not improving. And let's be honest, we want to look in the mirror and feel good about ourselves. We want our shirts, our suits to fit nicely. And that's all body composition. It's the shape of us, not the size of us. You're also, if you've got young kids especially, underestimating your calories. So the surplus happens when you're cleaning up the dinner after the kids have had it, and they've left a few chicken nuggets. They left a few chips. So yeah, I'm not going to throw away these goujons, these fish fingers. And you start eating that as well on top of your meal. Or you have the biscuits at work, you know, a few chips off the missus' plate, a bit extra. And although your intentions are harmless, the body doesn't care about intentions. It cares about calories, energy in, energy out. And only having a few extra is the biggest expense because you don't track that. And then when you look at your weight, you're confused and there's that cognitive dissonance. Why am I not losing weight? Because you've suffered the stealth surplus. And the pattern is then to binge because you feel guilty. You're going, I punish myself now. I'm going to hit the treadmill. Cardio is my penance. So you do hours of steady state cardio. And then you look at the scales and you think, all right, if it's dropping, it must mean it's working. But you need to keep lifting. You need to keep progressively overloading. In other words, when you go to the gym, every time you do that exercise, you need to be either increasing the weight and the reps stay the same, or the reps increase and the weight stays the same. But the volume has to increase because you have to protect your muscle. Right? That's our metabolic engine. And once you get to that stage, because you will do if you listen to what I'm saying, where you've got a good muscle mass and low fat, then you'll be eating your food and the muscle will be taking all those calories. It won't be stored as extra fat because you'll be insulin sensitive. It's achievable. What you must avoid, and if you've got an ego, or if you're successful, you've probably got an ego, is ego lifting. The best way to train is on an empty tank, empty stomach. You see these lads in the gym and they're adding weight to the plates, or to the bar, should I say, and they're lifting as much as they can. They're eating 4,000 calories a day. They're training on a full stomach. They're doing bench press and the bar's bouncing off their belly. No range of motion. You're fooling yourself. Just because you can lift heavy doesn't mean you're healthy. It's a macho thing. You're healthy if you've got a lean body, metabolically. And you don't need to be these lads spend ages in the gym, right, lifting as heaviest weights as possible. It's daft. I used to deadlift, and then I got to a stage where I was like deadlifting twice my body weight. I don't know what it was. And I thought, my back is hurting me. What am I doing this for? Silly. Train to be metabolically healthy. That's what we're here for. The expression everything in moderation has to be earned. You can't say, well, I can eat in moderation if you're not metabolically healthy. Not yet. The sacrifice has to happen. So if you're 12 to 15% body fat, fair enough, right? But you spent 10 years in a slow surplus. You left school and you were 12, 15% body fat. Now you're 30% body fat. So if it took you 10 years to get to that fat, it's not going to take you 6 weeks to get a six pack. You have to practice a very slow deficit to offset that surplus. And people say, oh no, life's too short to be eating like this. Life will be short for you if you don't. The question is, can you differentiate between I'm a little bit hungry a mild discomfort to versus it's an emergency. I have to eat straight away. I'm about to jump on this train to go and see a client. I need to grab a cinnamon bun or some yum yums. I'm about to hop on this plane. I'm going to go abroad with the family or business meeting. I need to get some food before I go on the plane because I'll be on the plane for 2 hours and I won't eat. 3 hours, 4 hours. Can you not eat for 3 or 4 hours? And the truth is, we don't like to tolerate discomfort because we've worked so hard to get to where we are now. It's a psychological trick. It's not that serious. You won't die. But that's what we need to do. And most fellas just can't practice this. Everything is instant, including food. And the last thing I'll say is, it can get isolating when you live this life. Because we have built a culture, and this goes for most countries, definitely Ireland and England, of drinking. Now, let's meet up for a few beers. That's what we do every Friday night. But more than likely, the people closest to you are around the same body weight as you, around the same body composition. They're as healthy as you are. So in order to get what you've never had, you need to do what you've never done. And most fellas won't do it. The question is, will you? Best way to find out, do the scorecard, link below.